right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another deep dive. And today we are going to get fluent in smartphone English. And I'm excited about this one.
Yeah.
We're not talking about like texting slang or anything like that. This is about being able to have a conversation about your smartphone, like features and tech support and all that good stuff.
That's right. Like think of it as like a passport, a passport to navigate the global language of smartphones. So whether you're comparing the specs or troubleshooting issues or even like just keeping up with, the trends, it's important.
Yeah. And I'll admit I'm guilty of sometimes just getting lost in all the jargon and not really knowing, what people are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's got to be like more practical reasons to master this smartphone English other than just sounding cool at the phone store or whatever.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, think about it. Even beyond just the tech world, smartphones are such a universal touch point that, being able to talk about them in English can actually like open up communication in so many different situations. Like imagine you're traveling and you need help with directions and your only common ground is your smartphone.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Being able to explain what you need using the right terms can be a lifesaver in a lot of cases.
Wow, that's a good point. So it's not even just about geeking out about specs. It's about real-world communication.
Yeah.
So let's get practical. Like, what are the building blocks of this smartphone English?
So let's start with some like must-know vocabularies. Our sources highlight a few key terms that are essential for even like basic conversations. And the first one is operating system, or, as a lot of people know it, OS.
Right.
Think of it as like the brain of your phone. It's the software that controls everything. So you got like iOS for iPhones and Android for a whole range of other devices.
So instead of just saying like, I have an iPhone, you can say I'm running the latest iOS.
Right.
Which sounds way more impressive at parties, right?
Exactly. And it helps you understand the differences between phones beyond just the brand name. So now, once you've got the OS down, you're ready to dive into the world of apps, short for applications.
Okay.
These are the programs that let you do everything you know, from checking the weather to editing photos. It's the stuff that makes smartphones actually smart.
Right, like I just downloaded this amazing new language learning app.
There you go. You see, you're already speaking smartphone English.
That's right.
So, and while you're busy, exploring those apps, you're going to want to keep an eye on your battery life.
Oh, don't even get me started on battery life. Is there an outlet around here?
Mm-hmm.
Is practically my catchphrase.
Yeah.
But seriously, why is battery life such a hot topic in the smartphone world?
Well, think about it. Like, we rely on these devices for so much, from communication to navigation to entertainment.
Yep.
Battery life has become like a major factor in like how we choose and use our phones. And it's not just about like how long it lasts. It's also about like charging speeds and battery health. It's a whole conversation in itself.
Okay, that makes sense. So besides a long-lasting battery, what else do we crave in our smartphones?
Well, storage, of course.
Yes.
It's that, it's the digital real estate where you store all those apps, photos, videos, everything else that makes your phone yours.
Yeah.
It's like having that feeling of like a clean, organized closet. You just feel better with more space.
Oh, 100%. My phone is constantly reminding me that storage is full, which is like the modern day equivalent of a junk drawer overflowing.
Right.
But how has storage kind of like evolved in the smartphone world?
That's a great question. So in the early days, storage was very limited and physically located on the device itself.
Yeah.
But now with cloud storage, we can actually store a lot of our data remotely and access it from anywhere with an internet connection.
Right.
So this has huge implications for how we use our phones and manage our data.
So storage is no longer just about like how much space is on the device itself.
Exactly.
But also how we access and manage our data in the cloud.
It's like having a virtual storage unit, for your digital life.
Yes, exactly. And speaking of things that have gotten way more sophisticated,
yeah.
How about the camera?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just snapping selfies anymore.
No, not at all.
Smartphone cameras have become incredibly powerful tools for photography and even filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the camera is often like the deciding factor for me when choosing a new phone.
Yeah.
Like I need something that can capture those spontaneous moments with like clarity and detail.
Sure.
What's the megapixel count on that camera is a question I always ask.
For sure. I mean, and the technology has come such a long way. We're talking multiple lenses, advanced sensors, and software that rival some professional cameras. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a whole new world.
It is.
All right, so we've got our OS apps, battery, storage, and camera all figured out. What's the final piece of the puzzle?
The screen, of course.
Ah, yes.
It's the window to our smartphone world, literally.
And the part I'm most likely to drop and crack, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But seriously, With all the different screen sizes and resolutions and technologies out there, how do we even begin to talk about them intelligently? I'm starting to realize that talking about screens isn't as simple as it seems. It's like a whole other language within smartphone English.
Yeah, you've got like different display technologies like LCD and OLED, and they all have their own, pros and cons when it comes to like color accuracy, brightness, energy efficiency.
Right.
And then you've got resolution, which measures the number of pixels that are packed into the screen. So a higher resolution means like a sharper, more detailed image.
So if I'm like bragging about my new phone's amazing screen,
Yeah.
I could say something like, it has a stunning OLED display with a super high resolution. The colors are incredibly vibrant and the detail is just mind-blowing.
There you go. You see,
Yeah.
you're getting it. And you wouldn't just be throwing around jargon. You'd be demonstrating a genuine understanding of what makes a screen stand out.
I love it. I'm feeling more and more confident with each term we uncover. But I have a feeling knowing the vocabulary is just the first step. How do we actually put all this knowledge into action?
Well, that's where mastering those key phrases comes in. Let's say you're trying to describe the features of your new phone to a friend. Instead of just saying, like, it's got a good camera.
Right.
You could say, the camera on this phone boasts a high megapixel count and advanced image stabilization, so even my action shots come out crystal clear.
Ooh, that sounds way more impressive.
Right.
It's like I'm not just describing the feature, I'm painting a picture of what it can do.
Exactly. Or imagine you need to explain a problem that you're having to tech support instead of just saying, my battery's dead.
Right.
You could say something like, my battery seems to be draining much faster than usual, even when I'm not using any power-hungry apps. Could there be a problem with the battery calibration?
Okay, that's super helpful. I'm starting to see how using more specific language can make a huge difference in getting your point across. What about like when you're looking for recommendations?
Recommendations. That's where those open-ended questions come in. So instead of just saying, what phone should I buy?
No.
You could say, I'm looking for a phone with a great camera and a long battery life. What models would you recommend?
And that opens up the conversation for a more personalized and insightful discussion, right?
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of asking questions in general. It shows that you're genuinely interested and, you're eager to learn more. So, for example, if someone's raving about their new foldable phone, instead of just nodding along, you could ask them, what's been the most surprising thing about using a foldable phone?
I've always been kind of shy about asking tech questions, but you're making it sound less intimidating and more like a natural part of the conversation.
It is. And remember, even a simple phrase like my storage is always full can be a conversation starter.
Yeah.
You might find yourself bonding with someone over shared storage struggles or discovering new tips and tricks for managing your data.
This is eye-opening. It's not just about the words themselves. It's about how we use them to connect and share experiences in this digital world.
That's the essence of it. But before we get too carried away with our newfound fluency, let's talk about some common mistakes to avoid. And one trap that I see a lot of people fall into is using too much jargon.
Oh, I've been on the receiving end of that. It's like they're speaking another language.
Yeah.
I just smile and nod politely while internally screaming, what does that even mean?
Yeah, we've all been there. So the key is to be mindful of your audience, Are they familiar with technical terms, or would simpler language be more effective?
So instead of saying like my phone's processor is underclocked, maybe I could just say my phone feels a bit sluggish.
Exactly. Clear and concise communication wins every time. And while it's great to be passionate about smartphones, try to avoid being overly critical of other people's choices.
Right, because saying your phone is so outdated probably won't win you any friends.
Probably not. Instead, you could say something like, oh, what features are you looking for in your next upgrade? It shows that you're curious and respectful of their preferences.
Okay, that's a much more diplomatic approach. And speaking of things we should all be more respectful of, let's talk about updates.
Ah, yes, the often dreaded updates, but they really are essential for security, performance, and, having access to all the latest features.
I used to be notorious for putting off updates. I just thought they were kind of a nuisance, but then I learned the hard way that ignoring updates can leave your phone vulnerable to like security risks.
Oh, it's true. Updates aren't just about shiny new features. They often include really crucial security patches that protect your personal information.
That's a great point. So if someone asks like why I'm always updating my phone, I can confidently say, I'm just taking care of my digital health.
Exactly. And that brings us to the heart of smartphone English. It's not just about mastering vocabulary and phrases. It's about using that knowledge to make informed decisions, protect ourselves, and engage in meaningful conversations.
This has been so insightful. I'm starting to see smartphone English less as like a tech skill and more as like a life skill.
That's a great way to put it. And as the world of smartphones continues to evolve, so too will the language that we use to navigate it.
Which leads us perfectly to our final challenge. I'm ready to put all this knowledge to the test and see how I measure up in a rapidly changing tech landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm back, and man, I feel like I've leveled up in smartphone English. I'm ready for that final challenge you mentioned.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're feeling confident. So for this final round, let's kind of shift gears a little bit and look at the bigger picture. What new trends in the smartphone world have you noticed lately, and how would you describe them using, all the vocabulary and phrases that we've been talking about?
Okay, challenge accepted. One thing that keeps popping up on my radar is this whole concept of the metaverse. It's like this idea of a persistent shared virtual world where we can like interact with each other in digital content in like totally new ways.
Yeah, the metaverse is definitely a hot topic these days. It's fascinating to think about how smartphones could become our portal to these like immersive digital experiences.
Right. Imagine using your phone's camera and screen to like overlay digital objects onto the real world, or attending virtual events that feel just as real as being there in person.
Yeah, it's like stepping into a science fiction movie, but how would you explain this concept to someone who's still kind of wrapping their head around like the basic smartphone features?
Well, I might say something like, imagine using your phone to step into a virtual world where you can meet up with friends, attend concerts, explore new places, all from the comfort of your living room. The metaverse is all about blending the digital and physical worlds in ways we're only beginning to imagine.
I like that analogy. You're using relatable experiences to explain a pretty complex concept. And you're highlighting how smartphones with their powerful processors, high-resolution screens, and advanced sensors could play a key role in shaping this whole metaverse experience.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about how far smartphone technology has come. We've gone from basic calls and text to like having the potential to step into entire virtual worlds.
It really is remarkable, and it really underscores why mastering smartphone English is so important. It's not just about knowing how to use a phone, it's about being able to participate in conversations and decisions that are shaping the future of technology and how we interact with the world around us.
You know what this whole deep dive has been like? Unlocking a secret code. I'm not just memorizing words. I'm actually gaining a deeper understanding of this technology that's like increasingly intertwined with our lives.
That's exactly the goal. And remember, this is just the beginning. As the smartphone landscape continues to evolve, so too will our understanding of it.
So to our listeners out there, I encourage you to embrace this ongoing adventure of smartphone English. Stay curious, ask questions, and never stop exploring the ever-expanding world of mobile technology.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be discussing the metaverse using a whole new set of vocabulary and phrases, right?
That's a conversation I'm definitely looking forward to. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into smartphone English. We'll catch you on our next adventure.